Hey everybody, it's Doug Shelf with the Make Maine Your Home team over Remax Oceanside. In this week's episode, we're going to talk about inheriting a property that has a mortgage on it and what are like some things to watch out for. So let's do this. All right, everybody. Like I said, we're going to talk about inheriting a property that has a mortgage on the property. I'm assuming a relative or somebody close to you passed away. I'm very sorry to hear that. We're going to try to give you some good information to help guide your way through this process to hopefully make it a little bit easier for you. If you do have questions, though, I'm going to put on my trusty glasses. Seek professional advice when you have this, whether talking to a real estate broker, a real estate attorney, your tax professionals or your accountants. Really kind of get all the advice you could possibly get around this just to make sure that you're making the right decision, especially in this time where there's a lot of emotion involved. It's always good to get the advice from as many sources as you possibly can so you can make an educated decision. We'll dive right in here and talk a little bit about this. The first thing that we talk about is really assess the situation. If you acquire this property and all of a sudden now you find out that there's a mortgage on it, chances are you may not have known all the details about it. So what we really are advising is make sure you dive in there and find out exactly what type of mortgage you have and all the preferences and the terms of the mortgage. You're really just going to want to dive in there because if it's an adjustable rate mortgage, you want to be mindful of that so you're not waiting too long to get out of it, or make sure you're watching the interest rates. If it's a fixed mortgage, of course, that's definitely better. Know what the interest rate is, all that kind of stuff, because if you decide that you're keeping the property, that's one option. And actually, that's our next bullet point is make sure you determine all your options. But one option is maybe keeping the property. And you're going to want to know what kind of mortgage is there. Maybe you could take over the mortgage. Maybe you can refinance your way out of it. Those are some options. Another option could be selling it. So in that case, you want to know how much is the property worth and what's your mortgage. Unfortunately, you might be upside down. Your mortgage might be more than what it's worth. And in that case, unfortunately, you might have to foreclose or do some sort of short sale scenario if you're going to sell it. If you're inheriting it and you're dealing with one of those scenarios, there are a lot of options. You can maybe just let the bank foreclose on it, take it, try to sell it off in a short sale, which means you have a little more control over as far as who buys it, but you got to talk the bank into taking that loss. I think we've done some videos around that. The thing to do is to contact the bank where the mortgage is. And again, coming back to assess the situation, you're going to want to know what all the fees are. What happens if you do sell it? Are there any fees around there? What's the actual payoff balance? Like you might be staring at a statement and it might seem like that's the payoff balance, but I always recommend calling the bank just to be sure and get that payoff for that day so you know exactly what you're talking about in case if that statement isn't 100% accurate that you're looking at. But again, you definitely want to make sure that you assess the situation, get as much information as you can by talking to professionals, talking to the bank, find out exactly what you got, and then that's going to help determine your options. And your options might be, if you keep it, refinance out of it. You might be able to assume that mortgage if it's if the terms are great, just keep paying it. If you are going to sell it, of course, you can look at it. If you're underwater on it, you can do a short sale, let it foreclose, or just sell it straight up and take the profit and go. Again, I do recommend working with the professionals, especially accountants in that scenario, if you do sell it, just to see what your tax burden is and all that kind of stuff. There's a lot to consider when you inherit a house that has a mortgage on it. You could definitely get through it, getting all the information and making sure that you're determining your best options and doing what's right. Hopefully this was helpful. If you have any questions, comment below. We'd love to hear from you. And remember, if you make Maine your home, you don't have to do it alone. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Thank you so much for watching. We really appreciate it. And hopefully these videos are helpful. We talk a lot about just Maine in general, some cool things to do, how awesome Maine is. We also talk a lot about real estate here in Maine. So if you ever have any questions or anything, please feel free to comment. Make sure you subscribe so you can get notified. Hit a little bell.